One of the things that happens when you're dealing with fear, especially regarding a particular situation, is that you begin to procrastinate. You can't move. It's just you're just unable to move because you are scared of the task and you're also not feeling secure in yourself. It will bring you into disobedience. You will be stubborn. You will be lazy. You'll be unproductive. These are things that come as a result of fear and shame. Hello guys, and welcome to this podcast episode. Guys, we've been having amazing conversations in the past weeks, and I am blessed, and I know that you are blessed. And today we're going to start a very interesting topic. I am sure you're going to like it. It's basically talking about fear and shame. We're going to be discussing these two emotions and analyzing how these two emotions affect you, how these two emotions affect me in the fulfillment of basic task, number one, and in the grand plan, what God has for you. So if you ask yourself, why can't I do this? Why can't I move? Why can't I? And why is it that it's hard for me, it's difficult for me to do things? This could be the answer to your question, overcoming these two emotions, fear and shame. So you know what to do. Send the link to your friends and invite them to also join and listen. So let's begin. We're going to start by defining our two terms because it's very easy to get confused when you say fear, when you say shame. For example, shame can be confused with embarrassment sometimes, and fear, you're like afraid of something. What do you mean? Like how does this, what are these things? So for the sake of clarity, and so that we're all on the same page, I'll be defining these two terminologies, fear and shame. So what is fear? Fear is an unpleasant emotion triggered by the perception of pain, danger, threats, whether it is real or imagined. So it doesn't have to be something physical. You don't have to see a lion running towards you, for example. It just has to be a perception that, okay, this thing is dangerous. But not only in danger, it can also be in the fact that you think that this thing is too much for me. This thing is too big for me. So when you have, maybe God is placing something in your heart and saying, Oluchi, I want you to do this, and you're like, can I really do this? Can I really become this? And usually when we talk about fear, there are two responses to it. There's the fight response and there's the flight response. Fight basically means to attack and flight means to run. So when you see a perceived danger or threat or anything or something that looks too big in your eyes, there's some people who it's their natural instinct to just run towards it, and some people, their natural instinct is to run away from it. And the people whose natural instinct is to run away from it is way more than people whose instinct is to fight it. And I mean, and also it depends on different circumstances. Some tasks for some people might be more inclined to attack it, while some other tasks they'll run away from it. And for another person, it might just be vice versa. So there are different elements to it that makes you decide whether you want to fight or you want to fly. One of the things that happens when you're dealing with fear, especially regarding a particular situation, is that you begin to procrastinate. You find yourself procrastinating and you say, okay, not now, I'll do it later. You have this internal resistance towards you because you're trying to say, no, I don't want to do it. You are postponing your fight, and in that moment you're flying. Now that we understand what fear is, what is shame? Shame is seen as the painful, sometimes unconscious emotion involving negative evaluation of yourself, driven by feelings of inadequacy, unworthiness, and valuation of social standards. In simple English, this is a kind of feeling that comes to you when you feel like, oh, I can't do it. The reason why you can't do it is not necessarily because of how mighty the task is, but how inadequate you feel yourself to be. So can you see the difference between fear and shame? For fear, you look at the mightiness of the task, like you are threatened by, oh, this is too much. I don't think I can do it. This is big. Can I actually achieve this? That is what fear does to you. Fear looks at the object, while shame looks at yourself like, oh my God, I feel inadequate to actually do this. So now imagine that you feel these two emotions when it comes to doing a particular task or when it comes to fulfilling something. You can't move. It's just you're just unable to move because you are scared of the task and you're also not feeling secure in yourself. So let me clarify the difference between shame and embarrassment. For shame, you look at yourself like, oh, I'm inadequate and stuff like that, your personal inadequacies. But embarrassment is more situation based. For example, you trip on the road. You feel embarrassed that, oh my God. So it's in that particular situation that you are tripping, that this emotion is coming, this feeling is coming. It doesn't, when you trip and you feel, oh, people are looking at me, it's awkward and everything like that, you don't think that you are inadequate as a person. It was just that situation. When you stand up, the feeling disappears. It's not there anymore. You don't feel, oh my God. No. So embarrassment is more specific to a situation. Maybe you trip or you sneeze out loud and people are looking at you weirdly, or you cough in the metro, for example. You're like, ugh. Everybody's looking at you like. But when you did the metro, you don't keep feeling that way. So shame is more long term, right? And it's attached to yourself, how you feel yourself. While embarrassment is attached to a particular situation and it is temporary. Now that we have defined our two terms, let's look at the double lock nature of fear and shame. I think I already mentioned it earlier, that imagine fear and shame being in one person. How will they move? And that is how a lot of people are. That is how a lot of us are upon this earth. We have this double nature when it comes to doing a particular task, when it comes to fulfilling destiny. Maybe take the children of Israelites, for example. They were going to go to the promised land and they were in Egypt, and they saw how mighty the Egyptians were, and they saw how mighty the Egyptians were, and they were filled with fear, like, oh my God, how can we live? And then they look at themselves and say, we are actually slaves, no matter how much we try. So it's for them, they did not believe. So what the two of them would do to you, fear and shame would do to you, would bring unbelief. And if you're a Christian, you know that unbelief is a very, very great sin. Because, for example, in Hebrews 4, it said the children of Israel were not able to enter into their rest because of the sin of unbelief. And we'll talk more about it maybe during the interactive session, but you will see what fear and shame is going to cause. It's not just those emotions. It will bring in disobedience. You will be stubborn. You will be lazy. You'll be unproductive. These are things that come as a result of fear and shame. So we're not just talking about these two emotions just on the surface. So, these are two emotions that affect. But we're trying to see the ripple effect, what it does to you. It's not just fear and shame you feel. There are babies that they give birth to. For example, fear brings anxiety. And when someone is anxious, oh my God, you can make a lot of mistakes. It can take you on a wrong path of life. So what we're discussing here is extremely critical to our well-being and the fulfillment of God's divine plan for our lives. So I will just try and talk about how fear and shame, how they work together in execution of a task or in the grand plan, fulfillment of a purpose. When you feel fear, you have chronic procrastination and emotional paralysis. Maybe I can also call it internal resistance also too. So if you see that you tend to procrastinate a lot, and you're like, why do I keep procrastinating? This could be either shame or fear. The task looks too big for you, or you feel like you're inadequate. Fear signals to you that the task is unsafe to start. And shame convinces you that you're unworthy or incapable of doing it at all. Fear is the initial threat of the work. You have fear of failure, anxiety that the task will become too hard for you, that you'll be judged based on the outcome, it won't be nice, it won't be this, you would fail, like all these things. Then you begin to avoid. That's the second level. To escape this discomfort, your brain chooses short-term relief through procrastination. And then now the internal attack comes, which is shame. Once you've avoided tasks for so long, you begin to feel shame for being lazy, being unproductive. This is a particular pathway I'm just describing to you. Then now the escalation. Shame makes you feel more inadequate and increases your fear of starting the task. Because now the stakes are higher, including your self-worth. So you see how it's a circle. You feel fear. I mean, for some people, maybe shame comes first, right? But most of the times, the reason why you feel inadequate is because you see the task is bigger than you. So you can't feel inadequate for something you're not afraid of, something that you don't really care of. I mean, that's how I understand it. Maybe if you have another understanding, you can always drop in the comment section. But as I understand it, I only feel inadequate for something that looks big, something that is beyond me. So when you look at the task and you say, this task is big and everything like that, you procrastinate, you don't want to do it, then you feel like, I can't even do it, and it gets worse. So that's your shame, that feeling of I can't do it, makes now the task look bigger. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly. So you start with, the task is too big, it's too much for me, it will be too difficult, and then afterwards you say, what if I can't do it? What if I fail? What if I this? And this shame, this inadequacy you're feeling in yourself now increases your fear of the thing. So the more your fear increases, the more your shame increases, and the more your shame increases, the more the fear increases. So it's like one is pushing one up, and at the end of the day, it's gone. You can't do the task anymore because of this pushing by these two emotions. So I would say that these two emotions is tied to one foundation, in my opinion, and it is esteem, your self-esteem. What is self-esteem? Self-valuation of your competence, of your ability, of your skills, of your worth, of your value, basically, how you view yourself. You would ask me that how is fear and shame this related to esteem? Like, honestly, doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you how it's related. Let me give an example. There is a singer who is a very good singer, has participated in global competitions, has won a lot of awards. If that particular singer is invited to sing at a small event, this singer has no problem singing at that event. It's small, maybe like 15, 20 people are there. This one has sung to like million people, right? A million people, 2 millions, and like has sung to a lot of people basically. In an event of 20, 30, it's just going there to just do something as natural as breathing to him. So now, this particular singer is now invited to sing in an event that is bigger than its biggest stage. For example, Olympics, World Cup or something. This particular same singer, if he feels fear and shame, that means his valuation of his competence and his skill is lower than that level that stage is going to. Now, do not get me wrong. There's the natural ability to feel nervous when you are doing something. Like, I'm talking about task execution now. There's natural ability to feel nervous. It's normal. But nervousness is temporary. I'll say, oh, I'm nervous. When you get to the stage, you sing and you're happy and everything. That's nervousness. But shame is telling yourself, I'm inadequate. I can't do it. So if that particular singer is feeling fear and shame, he would not even accept to go to that Olympics or World Cup, for example. If he finally does it, he will be pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed to do it. So when I said that fear and shame is linked to esteem, is that whatever task or whatever thing you are asked to do, that you feel these two emotions towards, that means the valuation of yourself is less than it. I hope I did not misplace anybody or make things confusing. If you don't understand, please, you can always ask me. Now, how does this affect the global plan? If you're listening to me, you're a Christian. God has a plan for you. God is leading you somewhere. This place that the Lord is leading you, in different seasons, will require you to fill task. Will require you to do one thing, do another thing. And not all these tasks will be easy. Or not all these tasks will feel like you can do it or you're adequate enough to do it. When you get this task from the Lord as instructions from the Lord, you feel like, oh my God, I can't do it. Why? I can't. That's why you keep telling yourself, I'm inadequate, I can't do it. But this small task equals to global plan of God for your life. So God is saying to you, leave this country, move to another country. As an example. And you are looking, oh my God, I can't go to a different country. Who will I know there? How will I start the application? I don't have the money. And you start looking for excuses. Excuses is a derivative of fear and shame. You start looking for excuses. Say, okay, maybe I'll talk to this person. You don't talk to the person. I'll do this. You don't do that. You begin to lie to yourself, another baby of fear and shame. You procrastinate, baby of fear and shame. You try other things. You cut corners, another baby of fear and shame. And at the end of the day, you don't do that thing. But to get to the promised land, you have to leave Egypt. You have to cross the Red Sea. You have to go to Mara. You have to go to Elim. You have to cross to fight Og and Sion. And you have to cross the River Jordan. You have to break the walls of Jericho. All these things. So basically my point is that there are different steps required for you to get to the grand plan that the Lord God has for you. But if for every instruction that the Lord gives to you, you feel fear and shame, then you would not move. Nothing would happen. You will find that the Lord has promised you the promised land, but you are still stranded in Egypt. Not because the Lord has lied, but because you just can't move. I realize that when the Lord gives a promise to somebody, it's big, it's glamorous, it's this. But as a human being, you still have to go and move. You have to move. You have to fight. You have to attack the situation basically that the Lord is putting before you. So next week we're going to talk about more in practical examples. I'm bringing somebody, right, that knows these feelings a lot, basically. And something else that I want to just highlight before we close today is, how do we get over it? So maybe this is the only podcast you get to listen to. Maybe you don't listen to the next one, but we start to talk about the solution. Number one, know who sent you. I talked about self-esteem, and that is your evaluation of yourself, evaluation of your competence, evaluation of your worth, everything I said last time. But as Christians, we are not just evaluating ourselves when it comes to the fulfillment of a particular task or doing something. We're evaluating also the competence of the person who has sent us. So remember, you have a very big, someone asking you to go and buy something, and it costs like $1 million. And then you are with a man who is very rich, and he gives you his card, go and buy it. Tell me, will you be scared to go and buy it when you have a card or someone that knows that there's like 10 million inside this card? I don't know if that's possible. 10 million inside this card. Would you be scared that if I go there now, they will not tell me thief, or they will not ask me to wash plates or to clean the floor because there's no money in the card? Of course not. If you go to a restaurant with a rich person and you're ordering all the amazing food, you are eating it because you know that there is somebody who is capable to pay. And that is how fear and shame is derived from the feeling of incapability based on the magnitude of what is before. So when you know that the person who has sent you, which in our own case is the Lord God Almighty, is capable than that thing, than the task, then you have what is the reason to be afraid? No reason. Not at all. You're not scared about anything. You're like, it's not God that asked me. When God told to David, pursue, overtake, and you recover all. In that same scripture, it says that David fought from dusk to the evening of the next day. God gave him those instructions, but he still fought. But he did not fight in the arms of the flesh. He didn't fight based on his own, oh yeah, I'm a fighter. He fought based off the instructions of the one who has sent him. And that is what I'm going to leave with you today. That know who has sent you. Just do it. Move. Go. Make all the mistakes. Do everything required of you. Just do it. Knowing that you have been sent by someone greater. Another thing I have here is that keep past testimonies, because they are your strength for future tasks. Anytime I have if God has put something in my heart to do, and I'm like, oh my God, this is hard, this is difficult, I don't know how to do it. What I remind myself is that the Lord has done it before. He has given me an instruction, I've done it, and this is how it ended up. So what is the problem doing this particular one? What's the problem going to this place? What's the problem doing this? What's the problem doing that? And the third one is that do not be too attached to results. Enjoy the process. And I'm telling you, even when the process seems very difficult, even the process feels like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Even when it brings tears to your eyes, even when it's hard, just enjoy it. And it's hard to ask sometimes, but just enjoy that. Greater is the end of a thing than the beginning. So do not despise your small beginnings. Do not look down on it. Don't say, God has said this, but I'm trying. No. Keep moving. Keep pushing. Keep moving. Keep pushing. And you would see the Lord. You would see that the things that He has said concerning you will come to pass. Alright guys, that's all that I have to say today. If you have any question, if you have any thoughts, disagreements, agreements on this topic, I want you to put in the comment section. I also want you to write me if you have any questions. If you think that, okay, there's a part of this that I have not discussed yet, text to me, right? Because we're going to be having this conversation again, and it's going to be more interactive. You know how it happens during candid conversations, right? We'll talk about it more, about the actual feelings, giving practical examples, and giving practical ways that the Lord has helped us overcome these two emotions. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.